No problem. Good morning, everyone. So, our BNI journey, one of our key core principles is building relationships, and we start and end that in the meeting every week by educating each other with our presentation of 45 seconds, and also then by giving contributions to each other. But in between that weekly journey, there's this massive cog that's infamously or famously known as the one-to-one. And so I want to give a few tips on what a one-to-one is and how we can benefit from that. So as the name suggests, a one-to-one is when two members meet one-to-one, although there is the two-to-one and the three-to-one, which Nitin has coined recently. But yeah, the principle is meeting each other to get to know each other better. And I wanted to share a few quick tips on how you can make your one-to-ones more effective and also help your own BNI journey. So the first thing I'd say is, look, there's a lot of people in the room, especially in a group like this, and it's a bit overwhelming when you first walk in. There's an amazing camaraderie here. Obviously, if you don't know anyone, you don't know where to start. So I'd say start by being strategic. So when you're first a BNI member, it's probably better to look for some of the senior members or the leadership team to understand the journey of BNI and how you can maximize, lean on their experience and sort of get their tips. But also, beyond that, you want to look strategically at where can you easily provide referrals, where could you gain referrals, and where could you create strategic collaborative partnerships. And it's not always the obvious choices. So, have a good look around the room and try and action plan your way. Now, of course, the aim is to try and meet everyone if you can during the course of the year, but it's not always possible. So that's why being strategic is really, really important. Secondly, remember, keep it fun. Now, one-to-one sounds very formal, and there's even a sheet which we'll talk about later on. But the important thing is that you want to build those relationships, get to know each other, and let your guard down. So if you're anything like Nitin and myself, there's always some sort of exotic food or a restaurant that he owns involved. And generally speaking, we never finish. And we need another one-to-one to finish what we were saying. So the other tip is don't be a chatterbox, because we're masters of that. But yeah, keep it social, find a place that you're comfortable, and remember, you're trying to get to know, like, and trust one another first and foremost. It's not about sales pitch, it's not about just desperately finding what you can give to keep your stats up on the referrals. It's about how can I help you, but first, do I know who you are? That's really important. The mindset is really, really vital. So going into it, focus on one another. So you're going in with a mindset of how may I serve you? First, you have to get to know them. You've got to really listen between the lines. And, you've got to really understand what that person's trying to achieve in their journey and how you can add to it. So remember, the focus for us is always give us gain. As someone keeps telling us every week, what goes around comes around. So if we go out with a kind, compassionate and giving intention, surely that will come back to us. We've got tools as well called the gains sheet. Nitin, what's the gains sheet? Sorry to put you on the spot. Can you tell us what gains means?
Yeah, it is goals that we talk about, and achievements, intent, I think it is.
Interest.
And network.
And your skills.
Yes.
Thank you. I only pick on Nitin because he's the one who pulled out the sheet.
We pulled out that sheet long time ago.
Nitin's trained me. No, so when Nitin first introduced me to the gain sheet last year, I was blown away. But actually, we went through it, and we had a one-to-one all about Zameer. And we went through, my accomplishments, my interests, where I wanted to go with my business and my life. And Nitin got to know me really well. And obviously, we're going to do the part 2. I think it's an annual thing, right?
Yes.
But through that process, I also learned, how much more Nitin does and how much more value he can add than just what he talks about every week. So it's been a great journey. We've been able to help each other accordingly. So that game sheet, I'm not saying you have to, meticulously go through it and in sort of deep detail, but it does give you a really, really good guide. And that leads me on to my next point, which is one-to-ones are not a one-time deal. So you meet someone once, try and see how you can create a sort of sustainable momentum to meet them over and over again. Because usually just the once is not going to get you everything you need to know how to help and how to be helped by that person. And finally, create next steps. So accountability is massively important. Action steps, what can I do? What can I help? If you've said, look, I know a connection, make sure you follow through, make sure you deliver on what you've promised. So yeah, hopefully that inspires you to all book your one-to-ones this week. And I hope that's been of value. And thank you so much for your time.
Okay.